something new, we also do something that we've already done. Okay? You are attempting to learn a couple of things. One, how to use Google Maps. That's important. But using Google Maps is easy. You can fucking learn that on your own. Learning how to use Google Maps within our environment, that's a little weirder, that's a little harder, but you can now hopefully start to see most of the ways that you would do that, right? Working with, working with our templates and our show pages functions are super important to understand the concept of how we're doing that. Not because that's how you should do that, but that's how we are doing it, okay? When it comes to our template functions and our show pages functions and our switch case and all that kind of stuff, that's our implementation. You shouldn't be thinking to yourself, I'm learning how it's done. You're learning how we're doing it. But ultimately, you're also learning ways of doing it, okay? I'm trying to teach you a number of ways. Do I care whether you use the info window or your own pop-up window or none at all? Well, I hope you're trying to make a cool app, so I hope you do something. But like, ultimately, I don't necessarily care whether you use one implementation or another, okay? I do care that you have all of the concepts I need, but how you reach those concepts there's a lot of variation in how you reach that, okay? So it's possible that you pop up essentially the page. However, you guys, there's also a possibility that instead of thinking of it like popping up a small window, maybe you think of it like switching a page by popping up so much that you've essentially changed the layout of the page, okay? So there's a lot of possibilities here, and I want you to understand that you're not supposed to be making this. Does everybody understand this? Who here thinks I want any student to turn in this for their final? Right. I don't want you to turn in this. Now, I want you to use the concepts to do whatever you need to do, okay, to make your thing. And if your thing is more complicated than this, then you might need to use a custom pop-up. But we have the concept for the custom pop-up, so you can do that, okay? So just, you know, I always need to make it clear that I'm not trying to tell you what you have to do, I'm simply trying to tell you what you can do. So, along the lines of that, we have to go to the next concept. Now, what we're going to try to do now is get 3 things working in our project. Thing number 1, create. Thing number 2, update. Thing number 3, delete. What does that sound like? There's a term. It's a term we learned in 608.
CRUD.
CRUD. That sounds like CRUD. Let's do database CRUD. Create, read, update, delete. Database CRUD is create, read, update, delete. Let's make our database work, okay? So, I don't actually want to do that on this page, but before I go anywhere else, I do want to do one thing, and it's this. You guys, I already have built into my code the concept of a way of clicking something and going to an animal page. I actually already designed that concept. And I designed that concept in my animal list where I made this sort of animal jump, okay? So I'm actually gonna take that, that concept, animal jump, and I'm gonna bring it down here where I have my thing around this whole area. And when I do that, I need to have this data ID. And I'm going to add that right here. So basically, I made a concept called animal jump. Hey, by the way, some of you renamed yours to something else jump. Make sure you use your concept, not my concept, if yours is different. And I'm going to add in the current object's ID. So that'll be the current animal's ID, hopefully, right? The only problem with that is that that's going to not work quite right unless I do one more thing, and it's this. I'm going to give these 2 children a class of no-click. Basically, you guys, in this design that I currently have, this text, this content, this image, isn't actually interactive. I just want this whole window, when I click it, to go to the animal. So I actually don't want any of the children grabbing any clicks. So I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to go into my app.js, Wait, no. I'm going to go into my app.css, and I'm going to add a no-click that has a property of pointer events none.
No.
Okay? So anything that's called no-click gets no pointer events. Now at that point, I'm going to open up my app.js, and at the point where I made my animal jump, actually I don't need to do anything. I think that'll just work. I think now, if I open up one of my things and I click it, it goes to that animal.
Yeah.
Hooray! Yay! It worked. Here's a problem. That breaks the page when you go back. You guys? When you've worked on a project for 3 or 4 years, sometimes you solve problems. Hey everybody, listen to me right now. When you work on a project for 3 to 4 years, sometimes, hey! Shut up. When you've worked on a project for 3 or 4 years, sometimes you solve problems and sometimes you don't. Sometimes that's your fault, sometimes it's not. You guys, I have worked on this project for so many classes, so many times. I have no idea why going forward to one page and then using a jQuery mobile back button breaks the Google Maps info window. I don't know why. I've never been able to figure out, and so you don't need to worry about it either. Okay? This is the one pass you get where it's just going to be broken when this one series of events happens. Okay? If you have this jump and then you click the back button, for some reason the Google Maps page will be broken. However, if you then navigate to the Google Maps page, oh shit, nope, it's totally broken. I've had it work where suddenly it'll start working again, and sometimes it won't. It's really inconsistent. However, like if I pop it open and I go to the list page and I go to the maps page, it still works fine. For some reason, the jQuery mobile back button breaks the info window, and I don't know why. I don't know why it does it, and I haven't been able to figure it out, and so you don't need to figure it out either, okay? Basically, you just need to know that I already know. I get it. And this is one of those cases where you get a pass, and you don't have to spend any clock cycles trying to figure out why that doesn't work, okay? Okay, so, but we are able to navigate to the animal. That's good, okay? That's a good thing. So we can now navigate to the animal, and we can now navigate from our main page or our map page, and this is still broken. Actually, you know what's really weird? On any of the other classes, if I navigated back to the map page from the map button, now it works. I don't know why it works sometimes and it doesn't work other times. It's totally inconsistent, and I don't know, okay? So this concept now works. So what I now want us to do is I want us to focus on this page for a moment. And along the lines of what I was talking about earlier about teaching you possibilities, we're going to learn a couple of new possibilities right now, and they involve the user experience of our app. You guys, I'm about to teach you something, and it's going to be a bad user experience. Now, you're going to think to yourself, no, it fucking works. That's a good user experience. No. Something that works is not necessarily a good user experience. Because I'm going to teach you something that is essentially undiscoverable. And this is a term that you guys need to understand when it comes to user experience and design, is this concept will be undiscoverable, which means that no one would ever figure out to do this unless they were just fucking clicking around on accident and did it on accident, okay? And that's a bad user experience. And all of you need to be aware of this concept. And all of you need to know how to recognize it to combat it, okay? I am not going to tell you how to solve this problem, but I am going to tell you that it's a problem. And if you don't make an attempt to solve it, any attempt whatsoever, it will reflect poorly on your grade because I have already told you that what I'm doing is bad, okay? So, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to learn how to add a new location to an animal. And we're going to do that by clicking on the map. Actually, I'm going to show you a couple of possibilities of adding a new location, and maybe one of those is the right thing for you. If you think about adding locations on a map, there's a couple of possibilities of how you might add a location on your map. When Uber first came out, and you wanted to place yourself at a location, what you did was not to place a marker onto a map. There already was a marker on the map. What you did was you moved the map around behind the marker. And by moving the map, you just sort of as intuitively understood that wherever the marker was, that's where you were placing it. You just didn't think about the fact that you weren't moving the marker, you were moving the map behind the marker. And the marker was just in the center of your screen, okay? It's possible that by the end of today, you could design that as well. However, now if you open up Uber, how does it work? Does anyone know? You pick up a pin and you move it somewhere, right? You're able to pick up a pin and move it. That's different. And honestly, I'm not going to teach you how to do that today because that sounds like a higher level of engineering to actually move something around on screen, okay? Clicks are easy. Google Maps has drag, but the idea of moving something, that's a much more complicated issue, okay? And theirs even has cool, drag and drop animations and all kinds of shit, right? So we're not going to learn how to do drag and drop of a pin, but I am going to show you the mechanics of getting the center of the screen, which means that you could just have a pin in front of the map, and then wherever somebody moved the map, that's where they were. And I'm going to teach you the mechanics of getting a click, and one click on the screen. And by doing one click, which is actually how I'm going to activate mine, it's actually going to be the bad user experience that I'm talking about, okay? So let's do this. Let's go to our pages, and let's go to our show map, and let's realize that, our show animal profile that has a show map. On our show animal profile, we're also showing a map, right? However, you guys, this one hasn't yet gotten a callback function. So let's add a callback function to this show map call. Just the exact same way that we did before. In fact, I'm even going to bring in the exact same TN. The difference is that last time what we did was we went through every single marker and we added a click to each of them. But it turns out we can also add a click simply to the map itself. Like this. So when the map is done, what we're going to do is add a click to the map, just generally on the map. And at that point, what we're going to do is we're going to console.log the event. Okay? If somebody clicks on the map, we're going to console log the event. And if we save and we refresh and we go to the console and we click on the map, we get the event data. We get the event data. Click on a marker, nothing happens. The reason for that is because our two maps work differently, right? The first map has clicks on the marker. This map has clicks on the map, but not on the marker. Okay? So let's open this up and look at it. What we can see is that if we actually look at this event data, we have that lat longe object again. We have a pixel object again, but it's got different values. We've got a qua that actually has values now. It didn't before. And we also have a wawa again. That's nice. Now, more importantly, you guys, this lat longe seems important. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to console log e.latlonge, lat. And then we're going to console log a longe as well. And if we save and we refresh, now, whenever we click, we get the latitude, longitude of that click. This is important. Why is this important? Well, because that right there gets us a position on the map. And hey, guess what we're storing in our database, you guys? In our database, we're storing a map position. That's good. That means that we are now getting the kind of data from our user that we need in our app. Okay? So, I want to show you one other thing. Okay? There's one other thing that I want to show you, and I want to show you how to get the center. Okay? When I want to get the center, what I can do is I can go to the map, and I can get center. When I do this, you guys, notice that get center is a method that returns a lat-long object that has latitude and longitude functions. What does that mean for you? That means that if you wanted to, you could figure out how, if somebody was in a position on the map and they clicked a button, you could get the center of the map and then do something with that information. Where is the center of the map? Well, that's where a marker goes. Okay? So, that's not how I'm going to do mine, but that's how you could do yours. Okay? So, here's what I am going to do. I want, when you click on the map of this page, I want it to pop up a window, a form. I want it to pop up a form, a modal, a genuine modal, okay? So I'm going to go to my HTML right now, and I'm going to go find a modal like this. And I'm going to go to my animal profile page, and I'm going to add a modal into there, okay? So I just added a modal into my animal profile page. However, I need to change the name spacing. This modal, so this is going to be add location. So add location. And then this is going to be add location is the name of the form. And then I'm going to make this thing not have an input, but have a text area. And that is not going to have a type of text. It is going to have an add location description is what I'm going to call this. And then this is going to say description. And then when we save and we refresh, nothing happens. But what we're going to do is we're going to say that when this gets clicked, our add location form, no, modal, is going to add class active. So now, did I not save that? Hold on. Hold on just a second. Am I editing the wrong one? That's the one on the page list. Shit. How did that just happen? Wow. Wow. I was totally in the wrong place right there. Sorry about that, you guys. That's why that wasn't working at all. Let's see. So this is the add location. This is the, I only need one of these. This is the add location description. Add location. Description, save. This is going to be a text area. This is going to be no text area. This is going to be no type, none, save. And sorry about that. Okay, there we go. I put it in the wrong place. There we go. Now it pops up a window. So when I click on my map somewhere, it now pops up a window. This, you guys, is undiscoverable user experience. Okay? However, it is going to allow me to teach you the mechanics of adding a new location. It's very important that you all understand what I'm doing right now. Okay? I'm not telling you this is good, I'm telling you it's bad. But it is learning the mechanics, okay? So, when I now click on my map, it should add this. When I'm on my animal location, it should give me a pop-up. Now, that pop-up doesn't do anything at the moment. In fact, what I'm gonna say is that when this pop-up is clicked, it should just close. When the pop-up form is submitted, it should just deactivate. But then what I also wanna do is I want to make a form submission. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new form submission for my add location form. And I am going to make that do nothing at the moment. So it should be, and when I click and submit, crap. I forgot I have to hard reload. Oh, this form doesn't have an ID. Well, that's fucking weird. What the heck did I have going for you guys before? Man. Okay. Let me try that one more time. There we go. All right. It closes the map. All right. So I need to do one more thing on this form. Okay. Inside of this form, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an input that is type hidden, and I'm going to give it an ID of add location lat, and I'm going to do another one that is add location launch. What you guys should know is that a hidden input is one that is part of the form but doesn't show to the user. Okay? So I now have a hidden input on this form called, I have two hidden inputs called lat and launch. And when I now open up this form, what I'm going to do is say that add location lat equals an e lat launch lat, and the same thing for the launch. And what this should be, you guys, is that now, if I inspect this form, you can see that by clicking on the map, I add a value into my form that sets the value of where the user clicked on my map. Hey guys. Remember that thing I talked about earlier about what was the most important thing that you just learned? What was the most important thing that you just learned?
Getting position let long.
Getting any position. We learned two ways of getting a position. Getting a position from a click, or just generally getting the current center of the map. However you want to design your application, you now have the possibility of doing that. What you then do with it is however your application works. In my case, mine pops up a thing that doesn't show the user the lat and longe they clicked, because the user doesn't even ever need to know that information. They should never edit that information, because how would they even know what to edit? And so, it just needs to be stored and saved. At that point, you guys, what we have is now we need to do something once somebody submits this form. Okay? Once somebody submits this form, that's our new problem. And what we want to do is the C of create. Because we need to create a new location on our database. So what we need to do is, first of all, in my application, they are on an animal page when they run this function, which means that they are on the current animal. Okay, so I know that the animal that we're currently adding the location to is the current animal because I know that they're on the animal page. It's possible this will work differently in your app. At that point, I want to take the locations and I want to push a value onto the locations. Okay? But you guys, the value I need to push needs to be one whole location object. Okay? The value I push needs to be one whole location object. Just like this. So, let's deal with what this means. First of all, I've got a lat, and I've got a launch. That's actually in my form. So I'm going to say that for the lat, I'm going to get the add location lat dot value. And for the launch, I'm going to get the launch. However, you guys, something that you need to know is that Google Maps expects these two values to be numbers, but the hidden input is going to store them as strings. Let me say that again. Google Maps is going to be expecting this to be numbers, but the hidden input is going to store this as a string. So what we need to do is use the unary operator right here. The unary operator is the plus symbol, and it's going to cast this string to a number. Now, hopefully in 608, you learned the word cast. Casting basically means that you are converting one type to another type. So basically, this unary operator is going to convert our string into a number, or at least attempt to. Now, I'm going to ignore the image for right now and just put in this same image. However, the description, I've got a description that I've got. So that's whatever somebody typed into mine. Hey guys, if your application has a description at this point, you should have one. If yours does not, you shouldn't. If yours requires the user to upload an image at this point, they should have uploaded an image at this point. Mine doesn't at this point. Okay? Mine's kind of incomplete at this point, and that's on purpose. You are not supposed to be doing exactly what I'm doing. I'm just sort of making sure that you have an idea of how to do the basic concept. Okay? So, the ID is our biggest problem right now. This ID, what should the ID be? Well, in a proper database, the ID would be handled by the database tech. In other words, MySQL would have an auto-incrementing number, and that would always be one more. However, at the moment, we can't quite do that. And so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get...
Total number.
No. We're going to have to get the last ID and increment that. And that's not quite the same thing as saying total number. So what we're going to have to do here is something a little bit goofy. We're going to have to get a new ID. We're going to have to check the current animal. We're going to have to check its location's length using a ternary. And if it does have locations, then what we want to do is get the current animal locations slice -1 0.id plus 1. But if it doesn't, we're going to use 0. Now, if you remember ternaries, what we're essentially saying is, are there any locations? If there are, give us the last ID plus 1. If there are not, the ID is 0. And at that point, we're going to use new ID right here. Okay? So at that point, then, we use new ID as the ID of this new user. And at that point, you guys, we've added a new user, or a new location, to our animal. And you guys, if we've added a new location to our animal, what do we have to do then? Well, technically, we already closed the modal, because we did that with our deactivate. If we click submit, it automatically closes the modal. We did that with our data deactivate. Okay, so then that means that all we really need to do is redraw the page. Now, you guys, this is a very important concept. And it is one of those high-level concepts that I kind of want you guys to all understand that we're doing this on purpose. So I want you all to kind of look at me right now, okay? Hey, everybody. When we did 608, whenever we changed a page, we essentially reloaded the whole page, okay? But right now, we don't want to reload this document. And in fact, technically, all we really want to do is redraw this page, which means that there's a very important concept that we're doing right now. The very important concept that we're doing right now is that we are just updating the data. The first time you try to do this, it's really easy to think that what I need to do is change the data in the page. But that's because you're still thinking like a visual designer. What you need to understand is that all you need to do is change the data in the database and then redraw the page. And it's lucky that we have a function that we built that draws the current page. In fact, it's called draw page. All of them are called draw page, okay? And that means that all they do is take the current data and draw out the page. And that means that all we need to do is update the data and redraw the page. We don't need to refresh the document. We just need to redraw the page. So, what that means is that all I have to do right now is, I think it's called show, excuse me, not draw, is show the animal profile page again. So if I save, and I refresh, and I click somewhere out in the ocean, or the bay, and I do something, and I submit, look, I'll do it again. You missed it. I'll put one somewhere else in the world. Are you ready? We're going to Hawaii, everybody. Wait, where are we? Shit. We're in Alaska. Hawaii. There it is. We're going to Hawaii. Do we like Oahu? Which Hawaii island do we like? We like Oahu.
Wow.
We like North Beach on Oahu. Boom. Hey guys. Hey guys. Wait. Everybody. If we go back to our maps page,
It's gone.
it should be over there. Because that's now the latest location of that animal. Okay? So what that means is that all of our pages work with the data. They automatically just show whatever the current data is. And that means that we've been doing this on purpose the whole time and you didn't even know it. When it comes to actually updating the content of our pages, it's as easy as updating the data of our database. As soon as we update the data of our database, the pages just naturally redraw themselves. That's all they have to do, okay? So, notice that if we refresh, it's gone, right? No more Hawaii, no more vacation.
No more one.
But we now have the ability to create data in our application, okay? Now, by the way, what you should probably do is make sure that once you've done this data, that you etarget.reset. That'll make sure that you reset the form so it still doesn't have the description inside the form. So it'll just reset the form. That's a good idea. Okay, so we now have the ability to add data into our database. So what's the next step? Well, there's create, there's read, there's update. Okay, let's update data in our database. Let's go to our user profile page. Okay? You guys, in our user profile page, I think what we should do is we should make this edit button actually edit the user profile. Okay? So let's do this. Let's make this edit button have a data activate of, let's say, what should we call this? We'll call this the edit user mode. And then let's also give this a class of edit user. Okay? So in our edit button on the user profile, which should be there somewhere in your design somewhere already, you should have an edit button because you should be able to edit your user. What we're going to do is we're just going to make that edit a modal. Hey, by the way, I guess I should also say one more thing. Everybody, in my design, I'm designing a lot of my stuff with pop-ups. But many of you guys design things with pages. What you should know is that if I'm designing things with pop-ups, I often have to do this data activate, deactivate step. You possibly don't have to do that step if you're doing this. All you'll have to do is navigate to a page, okay? But then what you should know is that when you're done, what you're going to want to do is not navigate forward, but navigate back to the previous page. So that's worth talking about, okay? So you should know that you can still design yours with pages. And actually for a lot of these concepts, possibly pages are better, okay? But for me, I'm just gonna do this with pop-ups because that's the way I'm doing it, okay? So, I need a modal. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to copy a modal. Into my page. This one is going to be called, why did I do that? Edit user. And then this is going to be called edit user. And this is going to be called edit user. And then this says edit username, and then this is going to be email, and then this is going to be email, and then this is going to say password, and this is going to say password, and then this is going to be typed password, and then I'm going to save, and then I'm going to go to the profile and refresh, and I'm going to click edit, and I get a pop-up. Yay! And it says edit user, and it says name, email, password, and is there anything wrong with this? Anything wrong with this?
It's added, right? It's updating, so we should have like real, original data in the form.
Hey guys, everybody, this is something that you should notice. This form is an edit form. And if we're making an edit form, it should already have data inside of it, okay? This isn't an add form, this is an edit form, and so it should be filled with data. However, there are a number of ways that you could fill the data inside of this form. You could, for instance, simply call out every single item and update their values. But I think what might be an even better idea is for us to make this form in the form of a template. I think that's a better idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the, I am going to take the modal body part of this content and I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to cut the whole modal body from this edit user form. And then I am going to make a new template called const make edit user template. and paste that content into there. Okay? Now I have a make edit user template, and it's just got all of my form controls. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that each of these inputs have a value. And then that value is going to be an O dot something. For instance, name. For instance, email. For instance, password. And if I do that, then what I should be able to do is, in my HTML, I made sure that this edit button had a class edit user. So I'm just going to go ahead and in my app.js clicks, I'm going to make a new click for edit user. And I'm going to make sure that the edit user form modal body gets an HTML of make edit user template using the current user. And if I do that, hopefully you guys, hopefully everything's broken. What is this? Edit user. Ah, shit. This is called form. Yay! There we go. Now it is a form filled with data. And the good thing about this is that works the same way whether you're doing it with a modal pop-up or a page load, okay? If you're going to a new page, you would do the exact same thing just with a show page function, right? But now we just do it on the modal pop-up, okay? Okay, so now we have a new form. Let's go back to our form section and let's make a new onSubmit. Let's copy our previous onSubmit, and let's make this one be the edit user form, right? When the edit user form is working, we need to do something. Well, what do we need to do? Well, this one's actually a lot easier, okay? This one's actually a lot easier. Here's how this works. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take the value of something, and we're just going to edit the current user's value. So for instance, the name is going to get set to the name from the form, like this. The email is going to get set from the form, and the password is going to get set from the form. And at that point, all we have to do Gesundheit, is show the user page, I believe. Isn't that our thing? Show user profile page is what we need to do. So show user profile page. Now, by the way, on the HTML of this form, I'm going to make sure that my button here also closes the modal. Here we go. Now, you guys, if I edit, I should be able to edit the name of this user, and it edits the name of the user. Of course, by the way, if I refresh, that's gone, because we're not editing the file. We're not editing the JSON file. But if I was to move from page to page, it would still be there, okay? We're editing the live data. We're just not editing the file. Hey guys, last semester, did you learn how to edit a JSON file? With PHP? Yeah, you did. In 608, you learned how to edit a JSON file with PHP. Yeah, you did. So, what that means is that you could make this work, couldn't you? But I'm actually not going to require you to. I think that this is going to be the last semester where students aren't required to do this. So, lucky you. But what you should know is that what we are doing is simply editing the live data. Okay? And in the live data, we're able to now add data and edit data. But something very important needs to be said. Making the location object was a relatively simple thing. But what you should know is that making an animal object involves making a locations array, even if it's empty. And that's not obvious to students. They're like, well, I don't want to make it if there isn't any. Actually, you do. Because there still needs to be a locations array on an animal, even if you don't have any locations inside of that array. Okay? So, okay, you guys, we're able to add a location. We're able to edit a user. We've got create. We've got read. We've got update. What's left?
Display.
Oh! What's left?
Delete.
Delete is right. 10 points to Gryffindor. Okay, so now we need to delete something. So how do we delete something? Well, the better question is, how do we do delete? Because I like to have this topic in 608, and I like to have this topic in 617. I think it's an important topic, okay? Hey guys, delete is a much more complex issue than most designers are willing to give it its due, okay? So we're going to talk about delete for a second, even if we've already talked about delete in a different class. I need to talk about this again, okay? So, delete is important, and it is complex, and it's a heavy thing. And especially in a front-end class, the idea of design is super important. This is a front-end class. This is all about the design and user experience of a front-end application, okay? And so what's important to understand is that delete is super important on the front end in terms of where you put it, when you put it, and how you operate it. So let's talk about that for a second. When you put delete on a list, how do you represent delete on a list? What kind of icon?
X. Close.
Wrong!
Close.
Dustbin.
Never an X. What does X mean in our app? Not back. Back means something very different. Cancel or
Close.
close. Hey guys, if you see X's that all mean close, and suddenly you see another X, what does this X mean? It should mean the same as every other X. If you have X's that mean different things in different parts of your application, that is a bad user experience, okay? So if we've already been using X possibly in our app for close, then we should definitely not use X for delete. And honestly, you guys, you should not use X for delete. What you should use for delete is
Garbage can.
a trash can. Yeah, garbage can, trash can. Hey guys, how many of you have icons on your app? How many of you made your own icons? Oh, that's good. That's good. Guys, everybody should make their own icons. It's the best thing in the world. And it doesn't actually take that long. How many icons do you have in your app? What? What? How many icons do you have in your app? Like 5 or 6, you guys. It's not that hard, okay? I even went on a tear, and I don't remember if I've shown you this guy already, but I went on a tear and I've made like 300 icons because it's so easy to make icons, okay? Making icons is not hard. Just define yourself a rule set. Am I doing line? Am I doing flat? Am I doing black? Am I doing white? What's my rule set? And then just make your icons. You can start with 1, 2, 3. As soon as you make 10, it's really easy to just make 50. Because once you make like a couple of them, it's really easy to just say, okay, I've made a cloud, I have to make another cloud, I have to make another cloud. Okay, I've made a Wi-Fi, I have to make this one, this one. Okay, I've made a rounded rectangle, I have to do this, this, this inside of there. And once you've made these 4, you can just still make these ones. And once you make these ones, you can make these ones. And icons are really fucking easy to make. I'm sorry, I'm not a designer, and I made this set. Look, I'm not telling you to do something I wouldn't do, right? So whenever you're doing this, you should have an icon set. Should you make a new icon set for every app you make? Probably not. Probably not. You probably figure out how to make a couple and then just make a bunch. Because honestly, there aren't that many icons. There's a certain point where you start moving into like icons for map applications, or icons for chat applications, or icons for file editing applications, but other than that, it's just all the same kinds of icons. So, it's also fun to make searching. Like, I really had a blast when I made this. Like, just searching for right in this thing and looking at all the right icons is kind of fun. It's fun. Also then, once you learn front-end programming and you learn how to do basic tools, you can make something like this using the exact tools that we've learned here in this class. Okay? So, by the way, I made this last week because it's fun. It's fun to make things. Okay, so delete, if you're going to do it, should probably be a trash icon, not an X icon. Should we put it on the list? Maybe. How do we delete things in most applications?
Swipe.
Swipe. Maybe, sort of. We delete notifications in a list by swipe. I guess sometimes we delete other things, but actually, how many of you have been trying to delete something and then something else showed up and it deleted that thing by swipe?
Yeah, confirming.
It's super fucking annoying when it just swipes and deletes. What's a better option for swipe delete?
Ask for confirmation.
No! How many times have you ever been asked for a confirmation? No, this is serious. How many times have you been asked for a confirmation to delete? Think back to the last app that did it, or desktop application. When did anyone ever confirm delete? Never, because it's a horrible user experience. There's very few times. I can think of sometimes. On a Windows system, if you command Shift Delete, Control Shift Delete, it will say, "Are you sure?" That shit's gone if you do that. Are you real sure? But if you're deleting and it's always asking you, that's annoying. That's super annoying. So what does Gmail desktop do when you delete?
Goes into trash.
Check and then trash.
Yeah, but no. Once you've deleted, what does it do?
Undo option.
It gives you the option to undo. It doesn't pop you up a question. It just says, "Hey, that was cool. Are you sure?" But it doesn't say, "Are you sure?" Like that's the option. It just says, if you want, you can undo that. That's cool too. Hey, let me ask you something. On desktop Gmail, how do you delete? You delete with a checkbox? I guess I would only delete with a checkbox if I was doing multiple ones. Is there any better way on desktop? What's the better way on desktop Gmail?
Select it.
No.
Or right click it.
No. Clearly, you actually haven't used or thought about it. It's either so intuitive or you just never think about it. No, you guys, when you mouse over the list now, just a bunch of buttons show up.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't even think about it anymore, these basic things. Has anyone used Procreate on an iPad to paint? No? Shit, you guys, you should get an iPad and use Procreate. It's the best experience ever. You really should. Borrow somebody's. I'm not saying you need to pay money. I'm saying find someone and say, "I'm using that." On that, you guys, they use a swipe to delete. But what do they do? What they do, if you've never seen it before, is you swipe and it activates buttons. It shows buttons when you swipe. And it used to be that it would swipe away and underneath there would be buttons, and now it sort of swipes buttons in front of it. It's weird. You guys, here's the point. The point is that a better way to do delete is, instead of making a confirmation, make it be 2 actions. Like a swipe and then a click. Or a click and then a click. Alright? Making it be 2 actions is better than making it be a request. Like, "Are you sure?" is super annoying. But making it be 2 actions is good. However, you guys, I am not going to teach you this semester how to do swiping. If you would like to learn how to do swiping, you can. There is a thing called Hammer.js, and you should totally use it. And it is a way of adding like swipe events into your application. It's called Hammer.js. Or if you were to go to my CodePen, and you were to go to my collections and go into my web dev UI, I do have a thing that I made for students that actually adds a sort of a swipe thing that reveals buttons. And if you're interested in that kind of a thing, like that is available. But this, you guys, this, like other things we have learned, will not just drag and drop into your project. Because our project is so uniquely shaped, you would have to make this work for you, but you could if you were so interested in like doing this on your list page, right? So what I suggest is that for us right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move delete into the animal page. And essentially what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to have delete on a second click, but the user's not going to think that that's what's happening. It's essentially going to allow us to have click, click for delete, but it's not going to feel that way. But that's essentially what we're doing, is we're delaying the delete option by making them have to click into the animal and then click delete, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into my animal template right over here. And then when I'm in my animal page, I am going to make an anchor. And this anchor is going to say delete. And this anchor is going to have a class of rem animal. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this also have a data ID. So I'm just going to copy a data ID from one of the other things I made. Where's the data? There's a data. Okay, so now, back in my app.js, I'm going to add a new click onto my application. And on this click, what I want to do is I want to delete an animal. Does anyone remember how in 608 we deleted a user from the JSON file? How? The code. What was the code of how we did it? We used a function, a very specific function. Do you remember? Do you remember? You remember it was what?
I swear to God, I'm completely lost.
Yes, yes.
I'm
And
completely
somewhere in there we
lost.
did logic.
That's what I'm looking
And somewhere in the logic there was an action delete. And somewhere in that section there was a very specific function. Does nobody remember? Ooh. Jesus Christ.
Splice. Splice, right? Yeah. Alright, no splice. Splicing?
That's right. We did a right spot. Am I doing a right spot? We did remove something from the data. And that's not what we want to do next time. We don't want to remove something from the data. What we want to do is we want to filter out everything that's not our data. Did you get all that?
You had microphone.
Too bad. Hey guys, we're going to learn a very important function right now. We're going to say that our user dot animals is going to equal the current user animals after having been filtered. Okay? Filter is a function that we haven't used yet, but it is also an array method. You know, from that page that I told you all to go read about array methods that none of you went and read. Okay? This is another array method that you all should go and read about. This one is super important, but it works exactly the same way as the other ones. The way filter works is that we're going to have a function that runs on every single item in the array, and if that function returns true, then the resulting array from the filter will have that item in it. But if that function returns false, that item will be removed from the resulting array. So basically, we're trying to get each item to either return true or false. If they return true, they're kept. If they return false, they're removed. It is a filter on the array. And it returns an array, so we're basically going to say the current animals equals a filtered animals list. And what we want to say in this case is we want to return, actually, you can just do it like this. We want to return if O.id does not equal the e.target.data ID. Whoops. Like that. So basically we're saying that if the current object's ID is not equal to it, that's true. So keep this animal. But if the current object's ID equals that ID, then that's false. Don't do this. Okay? And then at that point, you guys, oh shit, this is the REM animal. So then at that point, what we would want to do is what? Well, you guys, at that point, we don't want to refresh the animal page. We just fucking deleted this animal. So that's not what we want to do. So what we want to do is, in fact, we want to $.mobile.navigate. And I'm going to navigate to the page list. You could navigate perhaps to the page map, but essentially we need to navigate away from this page. If we just deleted the animal, we're done with the animal page. We need to navigate away from it. I'm going to save and refresh, and I should now have a delete button. And if I click it, yeah, Connecticut is gone. No more Connecticut. How about Cofine? Cofine, delete. Cofine's gone. Can we still click it on Zork? Zork is fine. Delete. Aquasur, gone. No more animals. Hey guys, is this a good user experience on this page?
Maybe. No.
Should this page show something when there's no animals? Like for instance, a new user just came to this page. A brand new user just came to this page and they don't have any animals yet. Should it tell them perhaps what to do? Should it maybe have a user experience that's a little bit better? Am I going to show you what to do? No. Should you be thinking about it? Yes. Hey guys, did you notice that it was hard for me to click that delete button because it was so near the map, and clicking near the map actually activated the map instead of the delete button? Yeah, okay, so that's something to think about. Hey everybody, what did we learn how to do today?
Correct.
Yes, what else?
Getting the click to the
Stop using your hand for motions.
yeah.
What did we else? Someone else, what did we learn?
Clicking markers.
Oh, just stay right there. How to click. We learned 2 how to clicks, right? We learned how to click markers. We learned how to click maps. We learned how to create things, how to update things, how to delete things. How much of your app do you think Hamilton expects you to have done by the end of this week?
80%.
Honestly, make a self-evaluation.
Almost everything.
How much does Hamilton expect that you could have done by the end of this week?
Everything.
I mean, almost everything, right?
Yeah.
What is something that we didn't learn but we did learn? We didn't learn how to search, but we learned how to search.
Filter.
We didn't learn how to filter, but we learned how to filter.
Indeed.
So how much of this app could you have done by the end of this week?
Everything.
89%.
More than 20? More than 20%? Hey guys, the semester is zooming along, okay? You have how many work weeks left?
3. 2.
Fine.
The holiday is May 25.
Oh.
So,
So we should plan it
no, how many work weeks do you have left? Wow, guys, math, come on. No! What week is this? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 4 work weeks. God damn, you guys. That's math. Yes.
Well, for those who are sending this project for the...
That's irrelevant. For this class, you have 4 work weeks left. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't probably be done earlier than that for a number of reasons, but you have 4 work weeks left for this class.
It's pretty good time to.
Hey guys, is a month a long time to work on a project?
Yeah?
Wait. Let me ask that question a better way. Is a month a long time to work on a project?
Yes.
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 Is a month a long time to say you have plenty of time left to work on the project?
No.
No. Because 4 weeks is not a long time to work on a project. But 4 weeks is a long time to work on a project. It's not a long time to say, I got plenty of time left. I don't need to work on anything. I'll be fine. Hey guys, how easy is it for me as a teacher to stand up here and tell you to do as I do not do? It's so easy for me to stand up here and say, you should totally work on this for 4 weeks straight and never do anything else. But I think it's important to mention that you have a lot of time to work on this. How many of you have solved all of your responsive issues? That's awful confident of you. How many of you have solved all of the problems from your midterm?
Oh.
All of them. Why not? Why not? They were almost all design issues. They were almost all user experience issues. You should have solved a bunch of those by now. And if you haven't, you have 4 weeks left to solve those issues. Okay? Because all of you should understand this is probably for some of you a spring show project. And if it's not a spring show project, it is definitely a portfolio project. This should be the project that is baller and kicks ass. This should be the one that you take to companies and go, see, I know my shit. And if it's not that project, you're doing this project wrong. So you have a month to correct course. You need to do that hard. Hey guys, how many of you are graduating soon? How many of you should probably not be goofing off for the next month? Okay? I know that it's easy to spend your time the way you want to, because you should. You should live life the way you want to. But maybe for this next month, you buckle down. Okay?
Yeah.
This is a cool project.
Yeah.
This could be a cool project. Your project could be cool, and you could make it cool. And you could also learn a lot of shit doing it. Okay? This is the month to do it.
True. that was needed, yeah.
Yeah.